In a batting-mad country like India, every upcoming youngster knows that scoring mountains of runs is non-negotiable. But runs alone don't guarantee success at the higher levels. A sharp mind and strong temperament become front and center the higher you go. On this edition of TECNO Spark 10 Universe Make It Big, we tell the story of Ruturaj Gaikwad, who grew from a determined small-framed kid in Pune to one of India's best limited overs batters, earning the praise and trust of MS Dhoni along the way and eventually an India cap. The Gaikwads weren't a sporting family by any means. Ruturaj's father Dashrath worked as a defense research officer and his mother Savita was a school teacher. Ruturaj's cricket journey first began in 2003 when he got to watch Brendan McCullum at the Nehru Stadium in Pune as a 6-year-old. A few years later, his parents saw advertisements for cricket summer camps and decided to send him to one. Immediately, they were asked to enroll him in a bigger academy to fulfill his potential. Ruturaj's father admits they didn't know much about cricket or the details around it, but they got a white button shirt and synthetic pants tailored, and Ruturaj was off to Dilip Vengsarkar's academy in Kondwa, a Pune suburb.
जब वेंगसरकर एकेडमी में जब शुरू में एडमिशन लिया, वो टाइम कोच कौन थे प्रशिक्षक वो कुछ मालूम नहीं था। शायद बाद में पता चला कि वो तो मोहन जादव करके, उसने 4-5 बॉल उसको प्रैक्टिस में दे दिया और बाद में बोला बाजू में जाके बैठो हम देखेंगे। उसका एडमिशन कंफर्म होने के बाद ही कंटिन्यू देयर ओनली। देन आफ्टर हम लोग कुछ नहीं किया, बाद में सब मोहन जादव उधर का कोचेस वो लोग सब फाइल कर लिया।
Mohan Jadhav from there became the guiding force of Ruturaj's teenage years. Jadhav worked primarily with under-14 cricketers and saw something at one of the sessions that impressed him a lot about Ruturaj. It wasn't his batting, as one would think. What impressed Jadhav was an image of Ruturaj's mental strength.
मुझे एक दिन पता चला कि ये लड़का दूसरे से थोड़ा अलग है। उस दिन हम लोग फील्डिंग का प्रैक्टिस कर रहे थे। थोड़ा सा क्लोज फील्डिंग के लिए हार्ड स्टॉप करने के लिए हम प्रैक्टिस कर रहे थे। तो सब बच्चों को बताया था कि मैं थोड़ा सा हार्ड मारूंगा तो आपको उसको पकड़ना है। प्रैक्टिस चालू हो गई। जैसे बच्चों ने पहले ही सुना था कि थोड़ा सा हार्ड आने वाला है तो बहुत सारे बच्चे वो डर के मारे बॉल छोड़ते थे, लेकिन ये बच्चा सबसे छोटा होते हुए भी उसने वो बॉल पूरा पकड़ता था और जो भी पकड़ता था ना वो पकड़ने के बाद इसके हाथ में बॉल जो दिखता था और एक्सप्रेशन से थे जैसे घट एकदम बोलते उसको, वो एक्सप्रेशन से पता चलता कि इसको कुछ तो करने का।
Ruturaj's reputation for making big hundreds was born during his teenage years. Jadhav had already seen that Ruturaj had an ability to find boundaries along the ground as someone who was not strongly built. This risk-free style was well suited to create a batter who would play long innings. Sure enough, Ruturaj's first ever century at junior level was a big one, where he made 143. Soon, he was representing Maharashtra at under-14 level, picking up chocolates that the Vengsarkar Academy gave as an incentive for good performances and pasting their wrappers in this cricket diary. An undying will to improve became a core part of his personality, and a setback at under-16 level made it even more intense.
वो महाराष्ट्र के आगे के 16 के स्क्वाड में नहीं था, तो जब उसने मुझे बोला कि मैं स्क्वाड में नहीं हूँ सर, तो मैंने उसको बोला था कि तेरा सिलेक्शन तेरा रन्स करेंगे, बाकी कोई सिलेक्ट नहीं करेगा। इसके आगे कभी ये चीज़ नहीं आनी चाहिए कि तेरे रन्स कम हो गए इसलिए तू पीछे हो गया। सेंचुरी बना, डबल सेंचुरी बना, ट्रिपल बना, तुझे कोई नहीं रोकेगा और कोई रोकने वाला नहीं होता है। हर एक को अच्छा परफॉर्म करने वाला बच्चा चाहिए होता है, तो तू करके दिखा और तेरा नाम फिक्स कर ले। फिर वो टर्निंग पॉइंट हो गया। उसको सपोर्ट की वजह से मैंने उनको बोला कि नहीं तू आगे जा।
Ever since then, Ruturaj's appetite for big scores hasn't stopped. In the 2014-2015 season, he was the second highest scorer across India in the under-19 Kuch Bihar Trophy. The following season, he repeated this feat and got a first-class debut for Maharashtra, although that began with a fracture in his very first innings. But a few months later, he would get a List A debut as well and immediately make a splash with a century on debut. From there began one of the most prolific list A careers that India has seen. Consistently racking up centuries at a rapid pace caught the selectors' eyes, and Ruturaj was elevated into the India A setup at the age of 22. The habit of making big scores came with him, and with that the attention of Chennai Super Kings. Ruturaj had trialled with the Rajasthan Royals before the IPL auction in 2019, and his number was listed in the 80s. When the lot skipped from 75 to 110 on auction day, he had given up and switched on his PlayStation. But not long after, his phone began buzzing, which is how he found out CSK had picked him up for 20 lakh rupees. While Gaikwad didn't get to play in the 2019 season, Dhoni spotted something in him just the way Jadhav had. As a rookie, Ruturaj went up to Dhoni and analysed the captaincy decision he had made against KKR in one game. The captain was impressed and told him to keep staying involved in the game this way. Ruturaj impressed the CSK management in his first year and was one of 4 players they retained in 2021 alongside the likes of Dhoni and Ravindra Jadeja, and is now an indispensable part of the lineup. While establishing himself in the IPL, some India caps in T20 cricket also came Ruturaj's way, along with a solitary ODI cap. While the runs haven't quite come in his short T20 international career, and the same with chances in the ODI format, the end of an ODI World Cup cycle in 2023 and Rohit Sharma's age might mean that Ruturaj is front-runner to be India's next long-term opening option. One thing that will certainly be in his favour is that just like Rohit, he has shown he can get double hundreds in 50 overs cricket too.